First against second in Conference B at Thomond Park tonight, and with a 9-point advantage over their interprovincial rivals, a Munster victory of any description sends Johan van Graan's side straight through to the grand final. 8 changes in total for Munster from the side that beat the Blues at the Arms Park last Friday. 4 in the forward pack, including returns for Gavin Coombs and Billy Holland, who captained the side in the week he has announced his impending retirement at the end of a 14th season. Craig Casey straight back into domestic duty following his Ireland debut in Rome. His halfback partnership with Ben Healy restored, with the latter one of 8 new contracts confirmed yesterday by the province. The visitors' lineup tonight shows 7 changes from the side that made it a record 5 wins in a row away from home against Benetton last weekend. Dave Heffernan and Ultan Delan back into the tight 5, with Conor Oliver returning to play against his former province. Jack Hardy is restored to fly-half duties. How Connacht would love a repeat of his RDS heroics against Leinster here tonight, where they've won only once in well over 30 years. That victory, though, was in 2015, sealed by a Bundy Aki try. He, of course, was the match winner last week in Treviso. So much will depend on the experience. 9 Centurions in this starting lineup, but no Andy Friend. He is at home rehabbing knee surgery, so they're under the tutelage of Nigel Carolyn. Bundy Aki in the starting lineup for the second week running, and perhaps with a point to prove to the wider audience and Andy Farrell. Jack Hardy very much in that bracket as well. Tom Daly's been excellent this season. Well, this man, Billy Holland's a 14-year tour of duty, started a long time ago in the Rugby Surrounds of West Wales in Llanelli back in 2007. And having announced his plans to retire at the end of this current season, will his swan song include a first Munster trophy in a decade? Win tonight, remember, and silverware is just 1 game away. High stakes interprovincial derby match on a cold night in Limerick at Thomond Park, but clear skies overhead and a decent track. Hopefully we will see some good running rugby. Chris Busby in charge. One of 8 new contracts announced yesterday. One for Ben Healy, who's got a new haircut as well, and he's back in harness alongside his mate Craig Casey in that half-back line tonight. Andrew Conway returned to action a couple of weeks ago against Edinburgh. He's another player looking to make up for lost time, having played only a handful of games in the last 6 months. Very difficult place to come and win, and no one knows that more than Connacht. This has not been a happy hunting ground for a long time. Just that one victory here in the professional era. Munster, in fact, have lost only twice in 39 home games, going back all the way to April 2017. Leinster, the only side to come here and win. First shrill blast from the whistle of Chris Busby inside the opening 25 seconds, and it's a breakdown penalty and a chance for Ben Healy to clear lines and get Munster settled into this encounter. Liam Toland alongside me on commentary tonight.
Well, it's absolutely brass monkeys here in Thomond Park, but on Thursday when the teams were announced, I was really excited. 2 very strong 23s, 2 very strong benches, but the starting number 9s is what's interesting me tonight. Isn't it great for Craig Casey to bounce back from his cap and start tonight?
Full unless they say otherwise.
Absolutely, so many points of interest, selfishly from an Irish point of view, and it was interesting after Johnny Sexton's comments about Craig Casey being the last to leave the pitch. He was absolutely the first person out here tonight.
This is good.
We've been here for a long time this evening, and he was first out onto the park. It's a good take, isn't it? And a very strong carry from Dave Heffernan. Connacht looked to start on the front foot, and immediately the opportunity to throw the ball wide and put it through the hands of the midfield axis of Bundy Aki and Tom Daly, and they're in prime field position.
Okay, full unless I say otherwise, lads.
It just seemed a great attack in the air from Connacht. They got enough traffic up in the air just to catch the eyes. I think that was Wycherley just lost sight of the flight of the ball for a moment. Good defence from Connacht.
Well, this time they shortened things to try and make it a little bit more straightforward and effective. Jack O'Donoghue was the target.
Okay, stay away.
And the Waterford man collected.
Hold the front.
Oh, charge down in behind. Healy under real pressure.
5 metre.
Munster living very dangerously.
Yes, block inside try line, Bracey. Scrum.
They get away with it, but
well, it's rare you get an opportunity for scrum within 3 minutes. This is a wonderful attacking platform for Connacht. Wondering why, of course, with the relatively narrow dead ball line, you see the amount of extra space there. It's a relatively narrow, consider the amount of space. You know, Edinburgh is another 10 metres again, isn't there? So big test for the Munster front five.
And certainly a great charge down work from Gavin Thornbury, putting Healy under all sorts of pressure. I was listening to Pete Wilkins say that this week they're going to try and obviously put huge pressure on the relatively inexperienced Casey and Healy at this interprovincial level.
Well, I've been a huge fan of Dennis Buckley, the loose head for Connacht. Nice night for Stephen Archer, who's 224 runs. I think he passed out Marcus Horans. That's some legend to be passing out, but it's great to get an early scrum anyway.
Hold your weight, yeah. Both sides. Mark's here, yeah.
Let's go.
Balance both sides, please.
Keelan Blade waits. Buckley, Heffernan and Beelum up against Cronin, Scannell and Archer. The two front rows. Conor Oliver, of course, wearing 7 there on the open side flank for Connacht tonight, back on his old stomping ground. He's been in excellent form.
And John Porch is staying out on the blind side, so there's a bit of space for him, but it looks like Connacht have stacked everyone on the open side.
Okay, listen, we spoke before the game. Okay, we've got to have that space on bind. You're both in early this side. Okay? Open up a little bit more space, yeah. I don't want you leaning in. Okay? Don't go early. Yeah, that's fine. Take more space if you need it.
Let's go, Finley. Here we go, buddy.
2-year contract for Peter O'Mahony announced this week. A lot of business taking place right around the provinces.
Let's go, boys.
Crunch. Bind. Set. Okay, bind up here. Stay there, 9. Yeah, you're fine. Okay, use it, Green.
A good deal more stable. Keelan Blade's got to work those limbs to try and fish it out of there. Daly now goes a little bit deeper. Sweeping ball out to this side. Great opportunity for the opening try. And Connacht are in inside 5 minutes. And it's the try machine. Picked ahead of Alex Wooten on the blind side wing tonight. Matt Healy. What a score that is from Connacht from the set piece. Great delivery, and he simply cannot miss from there. Try number 59 in the Connacht shirt for Matt Healy.
Did Munster get quite narrow, but it looked like because of the blind side, the space of blind side off the scrum, Munster had 2 stacked. One was a winger and the other was Chris Farrell. And then the outside backs of Munster got quite narrow, and leaving this guy, you can't leave this guy with any space at all, but he had enough space. Farrell, to be fair to him, burst the gut to get 30 metres in to make that tackle, but just too much distance to gather.
Well, what a start that is. Gauntlet well and truly thrown down to the home side. Distribution from Carty, the space for Healy, and for a player of his very high standards in that position, a relatively simple finish. 3rd try of the season. And that's a brilliantly executed conversion kick from Jack Carty, and that is about as good as it gets in terms of starts for Connacht.
It was just, again, the size of the blind side. You can see Munster stacked 2 players on the blind side. They're hedging their best wonder to go, but they got very, very narrow then once the ball. And a super pass from Jack Carty. Wasn't just spot his winger way out there. It was kind of hit and hope of sorts. But a great way to beat a narrow defence.
Absolutely, just readjusted, having taken the pass a little bit back in the pocket and then slung out that brilliant skip-out pass all the way to his left winger.
Hold. Let's take him back there, lads.
Statement of real intent.
Offside.
Well, he has the most turnovers in the Pro 14 this season. Chris Clute with 13, but 1 or 2 he doesn't get quite right.
Ball clear on the ground, offside.
In fact, there's a few turnover kings in tonight's game. Bundy Aki is some guy to carry a ball. He's a great guy on the deck as well. And in the back row, Gavin Coombs, he's probably one of the star players in Irish rugby, isn't he? Gavin Coombs, a little unfortunate not to get his nod against in the Six Nations thus far. But he's also a great man on the deck too. So there's a lot of guys who can contribute to that part of the game.
Yeah, so all the talk this week from Nigel Carlin, Tiernan O'Halloran, who was up in front of the press, and Peter Wilkins about managing access points into the game. Munster so strong on set piece, and hint of irony on the fact that Connacht have scored from that scrummage set piece after the hard work from Thornbury on the charge down to win the 5-metre scrum. Good carry again from Beelan.
There's no left, no left.
Connacht have already secured Champions Cup qualification, and it's a real outside bet to try and haul Munster back at the top of the table. But what a start they've made to this game, and Munster really not quite up to the pace of things now, just taking a fraction too long on the ball again from Mike Haley that time.
Use it! Hold.
Kasian gets it away to Finnan Wycherley. It's Wycherley and Billy Holland in the Munster second row tonight.
7, leave it now, 7, no. Leave it.
Interesting dynamic in that Connacht back row, with Jared Butler going back to the blindside flank to accommodate Conor Oliver and Paul Boyle in at number 8.
Use it! Say 3.
And this time they go very deep to just afford Healy a second extra.
But wasn't that a beautiful kick from Jack Carty, threading down? He noticed the fullback wasn't in the kind of the middle of the park, so he drilled it down between the two Munster players hanging in the back, and just buys a little time for his onrushing
To be fair, it was the same as our 7 here.
Connacht players to get up and put pressure on the clearance kick. Lovely play from Jack Carty, but especially a good chase from Connacht as well.
You're in, all right.
An awful lot of this game being played inside the Munster half.
9. Don't come early, yeah.
Yep, kicking game absolutely crucial, and the ratio of kicks to touch, kicks to find grass, and contestables that Jack Carty and Keelan Blade will use in the Connacht arsenal over the course of the 80 minutes. Going to be very interesting. That's another really robust, strong carry from Finlay Beelan, just brushing aside his opposite number, Stephen Archer. The clash of the two tight heads, and now the little wedge going forward. Paul Boyle and Conor Oliver kick in behind. There's that kicking game asking the questions of the back three, and in this instance Andrew Conway. That's a very good riposte. Good work, got his team out of a lot of trouble there again, did Conway, using his experience.
But he was brilliant in the read, wasn't he? He was way ahead of Jack Carty there. He spotted what he was going to do, and he got into great position to cover up.
Casey again under pressure from the long limbs of Gavin Thornbury, and they're living just in and around their own 22 here. Munster, almost 10 minutes have elapsed. It's been all the visiting side.
It's been great, hasn't it? And every time Connacht, their line out has been superb, and they're getting to the gain line very quickly, very aggressively, and they're really forcing Munster to backpedal in defence. And they're playing into what seems a very swirling wind, but I think it's slightly in the favour of Munster.
Yes, would seem to be coming from left to right as you look at your television. That's a good take from Ultan Delan, straight into the breadbasket of Keelan Blade. Real conviction about that set piece, and now they're switching up the angles. There was a good decoy in there as well.
Tackler's road, Eyes road.
Chris Busby brings it to a halt though, and Munster get themselves out of another sticky situation in defence with James Cronin.
Okay, I understand he can't run away with it, but don't go pushing him, okay? Don't start something.
Real tempo about the game though.
First man, hold it. Number 2 off feet.
And this will be the first kick for the young Munster out half without any green jerseys running at him. So he's got a massive boot, hasn't he? And as I said, the wind is slightly in his favour. So this will go some distance.
It's definitely picked up since we were down pitch side around 45 minutes ago or thereabouts. No JJ Hanrahan in the matchday 23 for Munster tonight. Joey Carberry, of course, continuing his rehabilitation after the cameo off the bench at the Arms Park against Cardiff.
This is their Munster second line out, so it's important they hit it. The first run, they just Connacht got 2 men into the air.
Jack O'Donoghue wasn't perfect. Gavin Coombs was in there to help out, and then Chris Farrell adding his bulk to proceedings. Casey now with that short little pass, but it's gone forward. Good read again. Tireless work from Dennis Buckley. It's just the knock-on advantage being played by the referee. A lot of very big players stepping up very early in the game inside 12 minutes. The likes of Dennis Buckley, Dave Heffernan, Finlay Beelan.
Yeah, Jack Carty took a little knock, didn't he? Okay, going to doing a bit of counter-rucking, adding his right shoulder into it. You might pick it up now on this replay here. That's the knock on. But as it evolved, watch Jack Carty. Good in throwing his way. Just got the technique a little bit off and a bit of a stinger there. So it took him a while to gather himself. Now again, this is another massive blindside again, which is causing Munster to have to kind of put a floater. So Ben Healy is just in the neutral place behind the scrum, kind of favouring the left-hand side as he's looking at it. Casey, scrum half, has gone across in defence.
What can they manufacture here? Carty to Bundy Aki and now to John Porch.
Back.
But what Connacht are doing really well is they're putting huge doubt in the Munster defensive systems, and they're making it really, really difficult, whether it's a ball off blade at scrum half or whether it's using the space. They're getting the ball into space and they're getting into big ball carriers like Bundy Aki. What a fend. That's a nice piece in the armory, isn't it? An arm like that.
Very strong hand into the chest.
It's making the tackles are going backwards. So they're really hunting for space, Connacht. Very impressive.
Well, he too might have expected to get the call to be involved against Italy and Rome last week. Andy Farrell, though, choosing to stick with the tried and trusted now of Robbie Henshaw and Gary Ringrose. We saw a lot of this in the reverse fixture between the two sides just after Christmas done in Galway. Munster used their maul and line-out to really good effect that night. He's been very good this season, John Porch, in every facet of his game, but the breakdown is becoming a little bit of an issue already. Casey wanted to go early and the temperatures are rising.
7, back 12. Back, please, thanks. First man in, number 7, sealing the contest, off feet.
Clever play from Munster, wasn't it? Because just the pace of the game was running away from them. So you get that line-out. The line-out isn't as crisp as they like it, but they go to a maul, don't they? And they suck in a bit of the time clock, and they just suck in a bit of the energy from Connacht. And a brilliant box kick. Really clever player from Munster. Just to get the tempo back. Great timing in the hit there too. So he was back on the deck.
Yes, good kick chase as always from Shane Daly. Timed it perfectly. And that set up the opportunity for the turnover, which in turn leads to the line-out. One or two players sucking in the oxygen. It's been a frantic opening 15 minutes. Connacht good value for their 7-point lead, but now for the first time really in the game, they're on the back foot, and it's with Billy Holland.
Number 4 in the air.
Taken in the air, so Munster playing with the advantage. Ultan Delan got his timing wrong, and now Munster come again with Cronin. That was a really good pickup. Barreling forward, Coombs from this range, we know what he can do. They're only a yard short, Wycherley driving, looks to be held up by Paul Boyle, who's done really well.
We're going to go back to the penalty, number 4 is already in the line-out.
We'll go back to the penalty against Delan at line-out time. A good
you can
surge
see what
from
Connacht were doing in the line-out.
Yes,
in the first couple, they were getting a couple of guys into the air and they're putting all sorts of pressure on the ball. This time they decided to stay on the ground, and it's a timing issue. Look at Delan getting in there. He's just getting in. He's hitting the player in the air, which I think was Billy Holland. That's an immediate penalty. Referees are very strong on that this season.
That's great work, isn't it, from Paul Boyle. So here we go again at line-out time.
It'll be really interesting. Will Connacht get into the air this close to their line?
One, just step off, have a step, yeah. Not early, 9.
Rory Scannell there at the front of the line-out.
Look who's at the tail.
Half a step off, please give them a full metre.
So with
Chris Farrell in the number 13 jersey at the tail of the line-out.
So Holland they go, so they've got plenty of KGs in there to set up that ball if they can get some forward momentum. And here it comes, the surge, the secondary surge. Now Casey, I thought he might have a snipe on his own. It's picked up just by Healy. Connacht are in there and they've turned it over. When they breathe a sigh of relief, brilliant defensive work, both in terms of the maul defence and then to surround the ball carrier on the deck.
That's huge. That's a huge moment, isn't it? A little bit of white line fever from the home side, wasn't it? Just a little bit of panic coming in there, and that's what's so important from an energy point of view for Connacht. They recognise what they've achieved. Just a little, he just got a little flat, didn't he? But Bundy Ake, I was mentioning earlier on, like, he's a turnover king. You know, we know what the Munster number 7 Clearter can do, but this guy is almost as good.
Well, it's been a frantic opening 17 minutes. He's a decent man to come in and try and settle a few heads and give us a couple of cents worth. Peter O'Mahony.
But I just think they did really well, didn't they? A couple of lineouts earlier, they line-up mauled it, they box kicked it, they got into the kind of killing zone, and just a little bit of panic.
Guys, 4 is okay here, I think. Yeah, that's okay. Munster, we're good to go, Billy. Yeah,
A little bit of attention again to Finlay Bealham and Ultan Dillon, but both will be okay to continue. No Quinn Rue tonight for Connacht, by the way. He and Tom Farrell really the only 2 long-term absentees at this point.
I tell you, the 17 minutes have flown by. It's been a great game.
Well, certainly the Connacht win at the RDS was one of the games of the Pro 14 season, and his variance in his kicking game was so crucial that night.
Connacht shortening their line-out.
9, inside. It's inside.
And they're looking for Thornbury and spoiled by Jack O'Donoghue.
Release Green!
Keelan Blair thought that went forward off the Munster number 6, but the officials feel otherwise, and it's Munster possession, good possession. Coombs, he did well at the second time of asking. Healy then pops it away. Shane Daly on his shoulder, Casey in there quickly again. Good defensive line speed from the team in green, right up in the faces of Gavin Coombs.
Flat.
Healy back inside, was flat. Referee in a good position to spot the pass to Farrell, and Healy again encouraged to take it on, tackled by Butler, the Connacht captain. 18 minutes on the watch, Connacht leading by that Matt Healy try, converted by Jack Carty. It's been a good riposte this from Munster, and once again they're playing with a penalty advantage. Casey. Healy didn't have too many options in his peripheral vision. Back we go for the penalty. It's becoming a little bit of a siege now down in that 22.
Well, it's rugby at its best in many ways. Like, both sides are competing for the ball. First of all, in the line-out, it's a great steal. And of course, it's no surprise that Jack O'Donoghue was the man who got it. He's leading the steals at line-out time for Munster.
Yes. On the wrong side, just slow down your 9.
And if you felt that Munster were going to slow down the pace at all with the mood Craig Casey is in, he's certainly cranking it up, isn't he?
Yeah, it's great to have that tap and go option as well. You can't take your eyes off him, can't relax for a moment.
I understand that, yeah.
Some difficulty here for Niall Scannell. Knee for Scannell, shoulder for Gavin Coombs. All happening. Finlay Bealham is down for the 2nd or 3rd time in the game as well.
You're good, Gavin, are you?
Yeah, Bealham made a big hit on Chris Farrell, didn't he? Farrell ran a great line and he just got swamped by the Connacht tighthead. Back in the old days when tightheads were sitting on the ground, it was because they were a little bit fatigued.
There's that pinch again from Jack O'Donoghue. Wasn't the softest of landings, but job done, led to that.
He's been brilliant all season. Like, he's leading that. He's been really, really important. So much so that Connacht probably should take into account where he's standing.
So reliable. Virtual, ever present this season in the Pro 14. Well, if it felt like Connacht monopolised the opening 10 minutes, Munster now just shading the possession stakes as we head to the back end of the second 10 minutes. Prime territory now. Test this Connacht maul defence, which has been suspect regularly this season. It will have been identified as a potential weakness, but Connacht will have worked on it all week as well. They know what's coming, and what's coming here for Munster potentially is a try. That looks very close from Niall Scannell. Held up again twice. They've been over the whitewash, and twice they've been held up. Paul Boyle the first time. This time I think it's John Porch
Yeah, but Munster were much more comfortable and patient with their line-up maul, because Connacht had a brilliant first phase hit. They superb. They gained about 4 or 5 metres, but Munster kept their patience and kept powering forward. Unlucky Scannell not to get the touchdown.
Yes, you would have fancied him there up against John Porch, but full credit to the Australian. Did really, really well there.
Fellas, hang on, lads. We're not going to scrum that. Let's just come in a fraction, yeah, just to hear. It's a bit better, yeah.
He's been arguably Connacht's most consistent performer this season. John Porch, whether he's on the wing or at full back.
Well, I think Alex Wooten on the bench has been lighting up the lights as well, hasn't he?
Until it's steady. Okay.
Certainly has.
And like with Tierna Halloran and Matt Healy as well, they're exciting players, exciting back three.
Fine.
Well, Healy certainly took his chance very well. He as well defensively does offer that left-footed kicking option to Connacht, which can be so important with a right-footed fly half.
Good three. Bind up.
I can see just keep an eye on the open side from Connacht, Conor Oliver. He's really scrummaging on Buckley. But when you got someone like Gavin Coombs in the number 8 slot for Munster, it's a fine balancing act trying to defend that first 5 metres.
Good discipline, the calls again.
It's a horrible place as an open side.
Yeah. You got to time your exit.
When you know there's a fella with the guns of the Navarone coming around the corner, and you.
Talking about Alex Wooten strike rate.
And certainly Jack Carty at 10 is hoping that Oliver is the first line of defence and holds. But it's a fine balancing act if you're an open side here to keep that scrum, to keep your power on Buckley.
Stay on 7. Stay behind the ball. Okay, use it, Red. Use it. 9, stay there.
Ball is there for Casey, and here comes Farrell. Carty put his body on the line. Casey, he's still going here, you know.
Hold here, hold.
Klutzer now takes it on.
It's there.
Almost burrowing his way on the Thomond Park turf towards that Connacht try line. Can they even the game up here from close range? That looks pretty good. And this time, Connacht's resistance is broken. Munster do manage to get over that try line. And the try goes to James Cronin. Very difficult to stop a man of his size and stature from a yard out.
Well, in many ways, a very solid scrum platform, but when you have Chris Farrell who can add his oomph onto it to get across the gain line and set up the position, it's impossible to stop from there. Cronin does exceptionally well, doesn't he? Because you see the Connacht guys are on their white line and they're there with a good low body position, but he's lower than them and he powers over a great leg drive. But this is the damage there. Farrell, having a player of that calibre, to be able to get that couple of yards makes a huge difference. And isn't Casey just a royal pain if you're a fringe defender? So really, really good to get that close to white line, but this time they didn't panic as they did in the first time they visited this close. Great try from Cronin.
Well, there you see the body height of both Jared Butler and Dennis Buckley. Nothing they can do to stop James Cronin and deny him his 19th Munster try.
But it was a huge one. There's an awful lot of time spent in that corner, so it's very important for Munster to come away with the score, which they did. So really good play from them.
Breeze at his back, as Liam was saying. A developing breeze which is getting ever stronger throughout the evening, but no mistake whatsoever. 26th out of 33 attempts from the kicking tee, almost at 80%, Ben Healy. More importantly, in the context of tonight's game and Munster's efforts to try and secure their place in the grand final, it's taken them 24 minutes to get on the board, but they're back level at 7 points apiece.
Make sure behind 12, yeah.
Ulster Leinster in Belfast tomorrow night, another potential conference decider. Big weekend in the Guinness Pro 14. Only 3 remaining, remember. We're very much at the business end of it.
Tackle release 2. No hands now.
It's been a great response from Munster.
Hold here. Use 9.
Principally given to them by their line-out maul and field position. Charged on again, and Connacht making it very difficult for Munster on these exits.
And that's a left-footed kick from
step off.
The ambidextrous.
That's full unless they tell
But
you otherwise.
that's two full. That's 3 blockdowns.
Yeah. It's 2 for Gavin Thornbury. Certainly accustomed to seeing Ben Healy kick off right and left. Scannell now. What's the option this time? Stolen by Thornbury. And what can they manufacture here? Line-out battle is really, really interesting. Keelan Blade taken on here by Delan. He's been in very, very good form, and he's come out the better of that collision. Combination of Wycherley and Ben Healy. Connacht using the full expanse of this Thomond Park pitch, putting the ball through the hands, changing the point of attack.
He's trapped. He's trapped. Yeah.
Conor Oliver in there by the referee.
And I'd certainly suggest that Paul Boyle helped the situation as the Munster player was trapped in there. That's one of those kind of law of unintended consequences, isn't it?
You're fine as a jackler, but you got a rule.
But what a line out. That was a line out steal. It was a Connacht got 2 into the air. You see Delan being lifted just by Buckley by himself in the middle pod. Thornbury, he's had a huge influence. That's the second steal he's had. But once I can't see the Munster player got in, but I think Paul Boyle came in and said, right, here's our chance to get 3 points. Traps him in. I think it was O'Donoghue, was it? Traps him in. He's no way of getting out. Very clever play and use of the law book from Paul Boyle.
And it's another entry into the Munster 22, which should result in Connacht points. It's another turnover at line-out time, and the genesis of it really was the pressure they're putting on the Munster kicker. So the side's only level for a matter of moments before Jack Carty puts Connacht back in front here.
Just don't get greedy and take a step. But you're good, yeah, just step back foot, yeah.
So those block kicks are becoming quite costly.
Yeah, there's plenty to think about for Nigel Carlin. No Andy Friend, remember, if you're just joining us. Jimmy Duffy and Pete Wilkins also in the Brian's Trust up there. They'll have been pretty happy with what they've seen in the opening 27 minutes. Lots of positivity coming out of Connacht this week. So they're very happy with the game plan and the structures they put in place, and it's now about executing them. And certainly they have ratcheted up the intensity level from last week's game against Benetton. Okay, they came away with the win, but I know they weren't happy with multiple parts of their game. Won it very late with Bundy Aki. Now Healy goes to the air. Carty moving, but he wasn't really in a position to try and take that. Taken instead by Tom Daly.
Number 6 offside.
Another big collision. Jack O'Donoghue was offside, so it is a penalty advantage and an opportunity to put some width on the ball. Healy's looked sharp.
Still penalty advantage, 6 offside in front of the kick.
Carty still with that advantage, so the charge down won't really hurt Connacht.
You will have a scrum option here, lads.
Leading up to that offside, there was a bit of a Donnybrook between 4 of the players, 2 Connacht and 2 Munster, which kind of meant that the ball bounced on grass, because there was 4 players otherwise engaged, and no one went up to catch the ball, and hence ultimately the penalty came out of the way. But again, just a subtle difference with how Connacht have ultimately exited from their 22 after their score. So off the ball here on the right hand, you can see a bit of a Donnybrook, and as the ball comes down, there was kind of no one coming in to claim that ball.
Okay, we'll have a look at that. We'll get involved.
Good take in the end from Tom Daly, difficult take. Maybe a little indication again of that strengthening breeze, if you want to call it that, tonight. It wasn't the greatest amount of distance from Carty,
this has been a brilliant contest here at line-out time. It really is.
And this one right in front of us.
Brilliant. Heffernan has been superb out of touch.
Taken by Thornbury again, and Carty now, and there's that kicking option from
quality. That's quality.
Tom Daly executed it brilliantly.
I'm sure they would have practiced that in training. Any rugby team around the world practice that, but just the brilliance, the accuracy of everything, the total control, and a superb wiper kick. Third steal.
Yeah, just really unfortunate that that's going forward off the hand of Keelan Blade.
Stays good then, no.
Munster under big pressure.
Second one for me, no, for me, second one's forward.
Pressure, lads.
Well done, lads. Height that side, lads, yeah.
Again, this time Delan gets a double lift. So in the previous steal, Thornbury got the double lift and Delan went up with Buckley. This time it was a double lift at the front. Just they're putting huge doubt on the Munster line-out management. Where is the zone to hit it to? It's a superb line-out defence from Connacht.
Huge amount of work clearly has gone into that particular facet of the game, and it's been the most interesting point. Here we are 30 minutes in, 10-7 in Connacht's favour.
Stay there. Stay there. Okay, use it, Red.
Coombs controls, leaves it there for Casey, and Healy is poised.
Hold in front 7, good night.
Conor Oliver again very quickly up and in the face of Healy.
Yeah, you're front man. 3's good. Yeah, space is good. Space is good.
All effort,
Now,
all action.
each time Connacht are getting a line out, anytime they take off the top, they're trying to put width in it as quickly as they possibly can. They've obviously all week have prepared to attack a certain part of the wider channels of the Munster defence, and doing so successfully.
Yeah, not too big a gap.
Dave Heffernan off the bench against Georgia in the autumn for Ireland. 5 Ireland caps to his name. Again, it's that man Thornbury, the little switch with Conor Oliver. Again, it's clever. Execution this time from Carty asks an awful lot of Matt Healy. Kept in field and kicked down the tram lines by Farrell, and just into touch with 2 players off in chase, Jack Carty.
But certainly their game plan is to get the ball into Matt Healy's hands as quickly as possible. To certainly ask questions of the wider defence of Munster. The pass, as you said, wasn't the correct execution, but you can see what they're trying to do.
Okay, guys, I spoke before. AR's on the mark. Red, step off. 6. Step off. Green, step up. 9. 9 on the line. 5.
Heffernan this time to the front, and top 6 inches is very much switched on from Connacht here. The keeping Munster guessing in every facet of the game. It's been a brilliant 32 minutes from them.
No, leave him.
Keelan Blade had to readjust after tripping over Billy Holland. Still camped inside their own 22.
Okay, hold in front here, lads.
And there is that left-footed kicking option that I mentioned from Matt Healy. Straight down the throat of Andrew Conway, and now it's Munster's opportunity to try and get some width on the ball. Shane Daly now just beyond halfway.
There's no left. Take it through.
Casey. Coombs now. Good footwork again, just a step out of Ulton Delan's tackle channel there, and stays in field with Heffernan. O'Halloran. Daly.
I'm sure O'Halloran were saying, "What do you give me that ball for?" Have you any idea what's coming down my throat?
Hold in front. 9, stop.
He improvised nonetheless. Haley might have liked a little more distance on his kick, but he'll take that once he's claimed it. Casey now. Cronin, the try scorer, runs into heavy traffic of Finlay Beelum and others. Ball available for the Munster scrum half. Casey a little bit hesitant before he pops it into the arms of Stephen Archer. Scannell now to Haley. Bundyaki is sniffing turnover. Coombs now gets his hands free. It's another big tackle from John Porch out there on that side for Connacht. Taken into contact this time by Wycherley. And this time it's Connacht's turn to get the breakdown penalty.
Isolated player, 4's on his feet. Hold on.
What a shift from Gavin Thornbury. All around the park so far.
Bundyak's patience at the end, on the edge there. Look at his patience as he's just watching and waiting to see who gets the ball. And then man on ball, like Farrell's a huge lump, so even to put him down is a fair effort. But it just checks the outside attackers, it slows the whole attack down. Great read from Bundyaki. What's been impressive as well is a couple of the clearance kicks from Connacht haven't been absolutely perfect, but the chasing line has been very, very strong across with the pitch.
Yes, you don't get the challenge at Thomond Park, as they find down the years, without huge amount of endeavour and effort.
4 holding.
It kind of brings me back to that game against Leinster at the RDS, where the shift they put in the opening 30-35 minutes, we were thinking going to half-time, could they maintain it?
I think this is a better performance.
Well, they're coming, looking on the attack again, bringing the play to Munster into their own half of the field. A little over 5 minutes to half-time.
Okay, on your front man, please.
25 points he got that night at the RDS against Leinster. He's never managed more than 14 is his best return against Munster. Jack Carty, January 2019. Thornbury again the target, and it's almost flawless, isn't it? Very easy on the eye. Keelan Blade, good feet again. 9-on-9 tackle. Casey has a great game. Proper Irish interprovincial derby match. High stakes certainly for Munster and Connacht. Well, what a part they've played, and
got a mark there, guys.
That's the first real unforced error, if you like, when he did have time to pick a spot.
Bill, do you want Storm or do you want 23?
Like he seems to have come with a preordained plan to split the two final defenders, if you like, when he's kicking it down, and he did the same there. This is brilliant feat. Like, Keelan Blade is a super player. Adds as much pace onto the game as Craig Casey does, and he's an attacking threat, just like Casey is as well.
That look of relish on Casey's face with his opposite number coming down the channel. Absolutely loves it, doesn't he?
See the game far side, that square, bind up.
Craig Casey, you probably recall, made his debut actually against Connacht in this fixture at Thomond Park in April of 2019. What a exponential rise to fame it's been for him. Full test debut last week in Rome.
Stay up, okay, use red.
Healy to Farrell. Conway did well up against Healy.
Don't go in 10, no.
Munster struggling a little bit to put the ball through the hands, and much of that due to Connacht's line speed and determination. Aggressive defence. That's pretty aggressive from Finian Wycherley. And Casey, you forgive him wanting a little bit of protection in there from Stephen Archer. Thornbury always lurking. O'Halloran under this. Good contest with Conway. Back off a green hand, says Chris Busby. Boyle, strong shoulder, got the better of Scannell in that collision. Presentation for the scrum half is good. Come back blind with Bundy a key, and that was a difficult one for Oliver to take.
It was interesting as scrum half was hitting Bundy a key. I was kind of thinking maybe this is a good time to. This is an interesting pass here from Chris Farrell. Whether he caught the eye of Bundy a key coming in on him or not, I don't know. But he got to hand. This is where I thought that Connacht might have been a bit clever and sat back in the pocket and put the ball. Considering the time and the clock and the scoreboard, it might have been a better time to play the ball into the Munster 22.
It's really interesting though, isn't it? You've got Casey and Keelan Blade, Ben Healy and Jack Carty, the Chris Farrell, Bundy a key opposition is simmering along nicely.
And simmering behind him there's Andrew Conway, just hunting. He looks like a guy who's keen to get on the ball.
He's been unfortunate, hasn't he? Conway hasn't scored a try since he got 2 against Connacht in August at the Aviva.
You see Conway coming up now to scrum half Craig Casey telling him something. Maybe it's a complete decoy.
It's been good so far. Mark's here. Let's go. Quick reset.
But Keelan Blade at scrum half, this is an important defensive thing to see where he hunts, particularly with what the line that Conway might be getting, to create that link between himself and his out half, Carty.
Come on, let's go, man.
Last minute of the regulation 40. Hard to believe we're pretty much at half time.
It's been a cracking 40 minutes.
So Conway now drifting infield. He's in at second receiver behind Healy here. Scannell wasn't the decoy. He takes a hard line straight up the guts. Keelan Blade was alive to that threat. Good defensive read for Connacht, but now they come. Once again, Munster going wide. Casey. Wycherley now. Healy, lots of options. Decided not to give it to Scannell or to Archer. Casey again to Farrell. That's a late tackle. It's Conor Oliver on Craig Casey. Penalty coming here for Munster. There's a little bit of afters as well between 9 and 7. One-time teammates coming together. A few verbals in there as well.
Well, I think after the penalty was given, Conor Oliver and Stephen Archer had a bit of handbag stuff, and Bundy Aki came in like the cavalry.
Relax, guys. Okay, Jack, what number 7 to 8 tackle on the line? Penalty here. Yeah, your players can't get involved afterwards. If it happens again, I'm going to march it forward, Kev. Do you want to talk to him? Yeah, it's clearly the all-night. Yeah.
And this is the...
So keep an eye on Archer and Oliver.
Number 7,
just there in the top of the screen.
Shot off.
Shot at goal, meantime, is the option for Munster with
the Archer here now on the
backs.
screen, just throw him like a rag doll. And Bundy Aki comes flying in. I'm having a bit of that, please.
I did see it. Just our Ben, yeah, where the ball is. Thanks.
It's a nasty cross field wind. It's slightly favouring Munster, but it's certainly going from left to right as in it's stiff enough as Healy is looking at the post. The wind is pushing the ball left to right. Not as easy a kick, maybe.
You see my point?
Not a take for granted effort, anyway.
Well, they're all set to make their way down to the dressing room. Will they go in with the sides level at 10 points apiece? Connacht off to that great early start with a Matt Healy try inside 5 minutes. Ben Healy has given that his full throttle, but he's just pushed it to the right of the uprights. In goes Craig Casey, and there will be some stern words in that Munster home dressing room at half-time. Connacht have come here and they have very much taken the fight to Munster. Brilliant 40 minutes of interprovincial Guinness Pro 14 action at Thomond Park in Limerick, and it's very much in the balance. But Connacht lead, Munster 7, Connacht 10 at half-time here. All set to go then for the second 40 minutes here at Thomond Park. A really intriguing half of rugby, a hugely important half of rugby for Munster in particular. They came here as strong favourites to get the win, a win of any description, which would send them straight through to the grand final of the Guinness Pro 14 in a few weeks' time, and with the ambition to try and get that nailed down so they could tinker over the next couple of weeks. But so far Connacht are not affording them that luxury whatsoever. 9 points behind, remember. Connacht behind Munster at the top of the table, so it's not done and dusted by any means. It would, of course, require a little bit of a miracle for Connacht to overthrow Munster and get to the final themselves, and often they needed a miracle coming here to Thomond to try and get a win. Only one in the professional era, but it is they who lead heading into the second half. Really, really good game. And so many individual battles. We could argue on the evidence of play so far that Keelan Blade and Jack Carty have outshone Craig Casey and Ben Healy. Oh, that's really good from Healy, and now Daly. Jack Carty did really, really well. His team were exposed in behind there. Good reach from the number 10.
Jack Carthy has kicked a number of times and avoided the tramp tracks. He's put it down more down the middle of the pitch, and he did likewise that time. But this time it opened up a blindside for Munster to attack down the side, and just for a ball that didn't quite go to hand, it was a dangerous strategy for Jack Carty in that occasion.
You really would have fancied Shane Daly had he got a little bit of open country in behind there, perhaps with the words of Johan van Graan and others still ringing in Munster ears from half-time. They were a little bit flat in the first half by comparison only to Connacht's energy levels and intensity, which has been huge. Casey, he was quickly there that time, got the ball away to Coombs, and it's offloaded to Scannell now. With fancy him in the physical stakes against Jack Carty, and here come Munster now, up into Connacht territory, into the 22, playing now with the advantage. Healy knows that.
No advantage, going back, 7, bro. Yeah, I'll give you that, thanks, Percy.
It's against Conor Oliver again.
Just here, yeah.
Much earlier in those plays, Munster on 2 occasions have targeted the blind side. So it must be a message they got from their coaching staff at half-time to just work the blind side and just get, and each time they've done it, they've gained good yardage, which has afforded space when it rewound back into the open. As you saw there, then it was much more difficult for Connacht to defend coming off the line hard, and they conceded yards and ultimately a penalty. So relatively easy play. So see the interaction between 12 and 13. A lot of that has come from the initial blindside attack, which is just disjointed the Connacht aggressive defensive line.
Same your side, yeah. Thanks. I understand what you're saying. It's just not the picture I'm seeing. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. That's pretty clear for me, though.
Well, he had the opportunity, didn't he? Much more difficult effort than this at the back end of the first half, and now with the first real attempt of the second half, Munster find themselves back level through the boot of their fly half Ben Healy. 10 points apiece, 44th minute.
Connacht splitting their forwards left and right of the kicker.
So Carty gets us back underway. Rory Scannell, Andrew Conway underneath this one rather, and right on the 22. Taken on by Chris Klute.
Tackle route 2! The ball's there. Don't push it into him.
Heffernan on Archer, and Heffernan told to roll out of the way by Chris Busby, which he does. Healy now deep inside that Munster 22, goes straight down the Thomond Park pitch.
Hold green! Stop! 3!
High and long from O'Halloran, and he's off at a rate of knots, chasing down Mike Healy here. Oh, that's the knock from Bundy Aki.
Wow, that was close. He read it brilliantly, didn't he? He really anticipated the pass, but just couldn't get his left arm, wasn't long enough. You see him coming into picture now in a second. He just read it brilliantly. He knew where the pass was coming from.
Yeah. No clear line break. Okay, just stop, guys. Joy, we've got a clear.
Great work ethic from Bundy Aki tonight, isn't it?
And see if there's any more, and it's not a clear line break.
Okay.
I'm just going to review that again against Bundy Aki.
At the screen now.
Just going to
try to get a wide angle there.
Yeah, I appreciate that, thanks.
And once Healy gets his hands free, Bundy Aki knows he's got an opportunity.
Knock on, it's not a line break. It's yellow card. You agree?
Yeah.
12. Off you go.
Bundy Aki is going to spend 10 minutes in the sin bin.
Just confirm the mark here. Crossing just there, yeah? Yeah. No.
He's slightly bemused, and I have to admit.
Well, we're standing right above him, and I can actually see Bundy Aki anticipating where the pass is coming from, and he hunted into the space looking to genuinely get it. He didn't get it, obviously, in the interpretation from the referee now is that professional foul.
Deliberate knock on, 12 green.
Deliberate knock on, and that I think is a little harsh.
When he said he denied a clear Munster line break, I have to say there was plenty of Connacht players back in defensive positions there. Well, could that ultimately prove costly?
Well, it's going to prove costly because Bundy Aki's influence on this fixture thus far has been huge. His absence will be equally huge.
Let's go.
Fine margins.
Step off, please. Yeah, that's fine.
Like all the while,
Yeah,
he was
they're good.
anticipating the pass, wasn't he?
Yep. Well, meantime, Healy has popped it down into the Connacht 22. Chance for Niall Scannell to hit his targets, or a chance for Ultan Delan and Gavin Thornbury to work together to turn that over.
Is that four line-out turnovers?
Delan again, that's brilliant from the two Connacht second rows.
Stop here, 3.
Really good exit as well.
Play.
Daly wants to go quickly, and he does to Healy.
Play.
Can he find some way through? Almost getting away from Jack Carty, but the Connacht fly half did well.
I don't know about that kick. I don't know about that one.
Just on you, yeah.
That'll suit Connacht perfectly, won't it?
Backhand, right?
Straightforward, really, for O'Halloran.
Just here, 15, yeah.
Like it was neither one
When you
thing
move,
nor
they'll come,
t'other.
yeah.
Connacht line-out has been absolutely brilliant, hasn't it?
Like it's not the throw, it's the anticipation of the green jerseys getting up.
Okay, guys.
We see
If
the
they come
replay
there, we'll
there.
free kick.
I just don't know why he made that kick.
Red, step up. That gap's too big. Lads, the same in the first half for Green. That's too big a gap. You got to close. Stay where you are, Green.
So they've got two
Just a metre.
pods here. Delana's got 2 lifters and Thornbury's got 2 lifters.
O'Donoghue, now Casey. Flat inviting pass to bring Farrell along to and run down that 10-12 channel. Good tackle in the end by Carty. Niall Scannell. Healy pops one over the top to Shane Daly. Keelan Blade is in there. Oh, he had his hands on for a second. Cries of turnover, but it didn't come. And here come Munster now with Coombs. And once he gets up ahead of steam, he's very hard to stop. Conway, elusive rather than direct.
Go there for.
Healy now to Wycherley.
No, wait, leave it.
Another good tackle from Tom Daly. He's been very, very good tonight.
Hold.
Casey. Healy once more. Thornbury over it, and this time they do get the turnover, and they are fighting for every single inch here, Connacht.
But Ben Healy attacked the line and he wasn't quite sure what he wanted from his players or supporting him, and he ended up just being swamped in quicksand.
Guys, the players down from both sides.
The breakdown here now is interesting because you see the number of red jerseys coming in. Are they on their feet? Are they going over the ball?
Guys, would you have
I think the
back
Connacht
the
players
ball,
are very
please?
much arguing they're going over it. This is
Like
the one
sort
where
of
the penalty
flexible,
was.
yeah,
Like
but-
Healy was caught in
Sorry,
kind
I
of
didn't
headlights. He didn't know exactly what to do, and the players weren't feeding off him. But one of the tallest players in the pitch getting down over the ball, that's a massive steal from the. Like, he's been brilliant in the air, but to see him do that on the deck is wonderful. Huge performance from Thornbury tonight.
Absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
Finlay Bealham has been in the wars tonight.
Well, Bealham is a wise tight head. He knows that the clock is to burn the clock is hugely helpful.
Yeah, I had a look at it, but I thought it was okay. If it's clear, if it clear came open, I thought it was okay. If it's clear, she'll come in. Yeah.
That's Tom Daly on Rory Scannell.
Was it late, Connor?
And that answers your question, yeah.
Maybe he said I got there as quick as I could.
Open to interpretation, but yes, certainly Scannell felt that.
Just didn't think he got a lift.
He's been the quiet centre of
That
Irish
one, I
rugby at the
didn't think he
moment.
got
Daly played a bit in
This one
Dublin
here.
for a while. He's been
This
really,
one
really
here, I
lighting
didn't
up
think he got a lift.
the competition, in fairness to him.
Yeah, okay.
5 tries thus far in the competition.
Okay, we're good? Yeah.
Yes,
Number
including
4,
the
okay, great.
brilliant try he scored that
Time's on.
historic
4,
night at the
on his feet.
RDS. Is it
Ref
to be
out.
a night to go down in the annals of Connacht history tonight? Can they just weather this storm of the next 5 or 6 minutes without Bundy Aki and get back to the full complement of 15? They won't help themselves by not finding touch. Daly now.
0-4.
Casey to Klucha, the open side. Another big tackle by Finlay Bealham. Work rate from the Connacht pack of forwards has been exceptional. Swung out wide from Scannell
good
straight away to Andrew Conway. Once again, Munster using that kicking game.
No 6.
Buckley in there. All hands to the pump to try and get out of their own 22 here. Conor Oliver leads the charge. Keelan Blade now with plenty of options. Ultan Delan frequently is a good one, but he runs into a really big double team tackle.
Always inside. Hold it front, stop! Stop!
Straight down to Mike
It's
Healy.
naive rugby from Connacht. They need to be conscious of the lack of a man.
Healy, no, that's good delivery to Scannell out to Gavin Coombs. Tries to play a little bit of football. Jack Carty is across the defend.
That's touch, lads.
I think Coombs has done
No,
Connacht a favour there because he forced Jack Carty to put into touch. Connacht are playing a little naive and trying to play their way out, considering the sin binning. Like when you're tight head and loose head, push your second row backwards. That's a great side, isn't it? Cronin is so warrior.
No, that's not.
The Ballincollig man has already got his try this evening. Working in tandem with Stephen Archer there.
Again, look at the double bank. Look at Delan has got 2 lifters and Thornbury same again.
Call comes from Billy Holland, but it's right over the head of Fineen Wycherley.
First defence is crooked.
That's huge.
First defence is crooked.
That's huge. Like that's 6 lineouts that have not functioned for Munster. In this case, they're trying to avoid the entire green jerseys.
That's that shoulder.
That's a huge compliment to Ultan Delan, Gavin Thornbury, and all the rest of the team effort in that regard.
But it burns the clock as well, Conor.
Yep. 4 minutes.
No, guys, we're going. Let's go for it.
On Bundy Aki's sin
Okay, he's
binning.
coming. That's for him. Yeah, he'll come.
It's amazing how muck gets
Slow
into
balls,
the
guys,
studs,
balls,
isn't it,
let's
when
do
there's a
first
sin bin.
Just don't get ahead of me, okay?
Well, I think back to Bundy Aki's sin binning in the European game against Bristol. I think it was about 5 minutes into the second half.
Let's go.
Innocuous enough and unnecessary, and it changed the course of the game. So it hasn't yet done it to this fixture, which is important. And they need him back without a points deficit if they can avoid it at all.
Bind!
So Munster backline have a flat 4 in defence and 2 hanging back.
Okay, stay in. Don't go in. 1, 3. Don't go in. Stay there.
Not an easy kicking option.
8-9-13, but 2 Munster players converging there on Tom Daly.
Okay, hold in front, Green. Hold. Okay, you're good now, yeah.
Healy again. Now, will he go the aerial route? Carty walks it all the way. Really good take. Connacht scrambling a little bit.
Advantage.
There's a penalty against Stephen Archer.
Has delayed access to the clean. Number 3's delayed access to the clean on the wrong side. You got to rule
As I was saying, after the last scrum, Conor, it was really difficult. Munster had a flat 4 up in defence, which meant exiting through passing the ball was difficult, and they 2 in the backfield. So it was an almost impossible balancing act for Jack Carty to try and clear his lines. He did so, but he went down the middle of the pitch, and all of a sudden Munster started flowing in. So these penalties that Munster are conceding are hugely detrimental, because all the pressure's on Connacht, and every time they have them in the jugular, they're just giving away a loose penalty, or the line-out is malfunctioning, and you're just leaving Connacht exit a little easier than they need to be.
A fraction there, Brad. Yeah, thank you. Okay, Green, let's go. Speed it up. Come on. Not too big. Good.
Oh, look.
Delan at the front.
Lovely line-out.
Superb accuracy and execution on the set piece from Connacht, as has been in defence and attack all evening. Blade, a little slower now for the Connacht scrum half, taken on by Paul Boyle.
Ball available.
Carty, tricky one to deal with, but dealt with in the end by Healy, and Daly now under pressure of his own. Good chase here. Jared Butler now with Casey, just forcing him into touch, and he was conceding a few kilograms there, Craig Casey,
but it's a red ball.
Did really well.
Red ball.
Come on, you stay in the fight.
It is a Munster ball.
Let's get there, lads, come on. Hey, numbers.
Well, there's the 70-plus
Stop, lads.
jerseys in
Second
the
ball.
stand
Yeah.
just above us, representing the
Just hold
15
him for a second till the line's
senior clubs in the province
Okay,
and a further
hang on.
40 junior clubs in schools. Some very, very familiar, famous and proud jerseys in amongst those.
Okay, lad, it's over. Same wall. No claps here, Green. Keep it up.
They're still going. Scannell.
Number 3, Green, claps. Penalty advantage, red.
Finlay Beelum guilty of
Keep him
collapsing
marked
in
there,
the eyes of Chris Busby.
And
There's
10
Healy
offside.
now with the advantage. Another penalty advantage for the offside.
Stop. Okay.
Bundy Aki is almost ready to rejoin us.
Relax. Okay, no. Back. Billy. Guys, step back. Billy, you have an option. You have 3 grading the 5.
You can see in the
Are you
monitor there,
playing
number
offside?
3 and number 3. So Finlay Beelum did tackle the man in the
Yeah.
in the
It's
maul,
just in the
which
middle
is
of the
against the
picture,
laws.
yeah.
Obviously,
No,
the maul
Jack,
itself
we're
didn't
not-
drop,
no,
but
we're
he
good,
dropped
yeah.
Archer.
It was clear. He
But
came
then a
up with
double
it.
penalty from Jack Carthy. But all this, Bundy Aki has just come back on the pitch, so the score stands at 10-all. That's a
Yeah, no problem. Send
phenomenal
it back
effort
on.
from
No worries.
Connacht.
Just here, Brissy. Yeah.
And you can imagine the hunger of Bundy Aki now to try and make up for his 10
Number
minutes.
10 offside. Push the ball.
Controlled aggression
I would not
required.
like to be a Munster lad running down his channel. Speaking of channels, my God, look
There's
at
a
these two
couple
guys.
of
Bam.
heavyweights
The
to
mark
bring
is
off the
actually here. You
bench,
still wanna
and
go for a goal?
They would get through a few slice pans every day, wouldn't they? Whoa.
a little bit more finesse, perhaps,
Thanks,
from this man, Joey Carberry, getting some last-minute advice from Peter O'Mahony before he comes in. Maybe a little earlier than Munster may have thought or may have liked,
12.
but
Just give us 10, please, from there. Yeah, thanks.
may not have a huge more to do in the game, Ben Healy, than this penalty attempt. Carberry poised and standing by, so too Klein and Dialende. Johan van Graan talking a lot about the strength of the bench and how it may be required tonight. No, he's missed that one as well. It's not been his night really from the kicking tee.
Second miss.
Okay.
So those flurry of changes are going to happen. He may be staying with
Keep
us
them behind, Ken.
for now at least. Ben Healy.
Subs. All red. 2, 4, 12, and 10. 2, 4, 10, 12.
So it's Scannell, Wycherley, Healy and Rory Scannell all coming off.
Just make sure they're behind you, Jack. Yeah, but just hold. Wait till the subs are off. Just hold. I'll tell you one.
Kevin Byrne, Damien Dialende,
Just hold until he's off there, lads. Okay, time's on. Behind
Joey
Green.
Carberry. So 13 months out for Carberry, and now straight into the cut and thrust of a very, very tightly poised
not
interprovincial derby match, with his team trying to get to the grand final. But here comes Carty and Bundy Aki, Dialende. All
off
hands
Green.
to the pump straight away for the South African World Cup winner, and away goes Heffernan now. Back to 15 aside, remember, Keelan Blade to Thornbury.
Hold here, Captain.
Great physicality from Jack O'Donoghue. Carty. Can he get his pass away? It's there for Blade. Thornbury again. He's seen so much ball. Blade kicking in behind. Carberry on the retreat. There's a little bit of time, but then
Stop
Oliver
6.
was in his eye line. Porch
Okay, out to 10. Keep coming.
drifting infield. Mike Haley's off in chase here, and he's got it at the second attempt, and now he's got a little bit of space. Haley digs one in behind, all on the bounce, and can he collect it? Mike Haley for the line. That's brilliant from the Munster fullback. Watched it all the way through the air. Yes, he juggled it, but after that, great skill, great awareness, the vision and the finish, and Munster take the lead for the first time in the game.
supreme turn back of a kick that was a bit wary from Connacht, wasn't it? Brilliant skills, all the skills. The fend just to get out of the heavy traffic, then the deft little chip over the top just to put the ball onto grass. Like this, when he hits back in the ground, his right-hand fend just to get him out of the heavy traffic. That was the tackle that needed to be made. But this is all skill and power and pace, isn't it? Superb from the Munster fullback. Lovely pickup. How often does the bobbling ball not do that? But on this occasion it did. Super individual score from Munster fullback.
Beautiful little drop onto the bootlaces of his left foot from Mike Healy.
That fend there was huge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just to buy himself some time. And after everything Connacht did to survive the 10 minutes of sin bin, that's a soft try to give away.
Carberry splits the uprights, and it's 7 points in the bag for Munster. 17 points to 10.
Just subs for you here, Jack, yeah.
That's a brilliant try
Number
from
1 and 3, red.
oh so dependable Mike Healy.
Subs. Hands off there, guys, yeah.
Couple of further changes.
Just tell us when we're good to go there, fellas.
John Ryan coming in for Stephen Archer, principally from Munster. Finlay Bealham has gone off, and so too Tiernan O'Halloran. James Cronin also. Jeremy Loughlin therefore is in.
Hold here.
We're about to see the telling impact potentially of the benches.
Okay, use it! It's outside.
Well, Munster's strength and depth pay dividends. The likes of Carberry, Dialende, Klein and others. Alex Wooten is in against his former charges, the man in real try scoring form, and straight away he's got ball in hand and he finds Bundy Aki, and Bundy Aki finds one or two steps inside 2 or 3 Munster defenders. Wooten again, he's so keen to get involved. Carty now plays the percentages and plays the angles. Daly. Haley again has a little look to see where the cover is. Wooten assesses the option. He just wants to run all day. Run into Klein, who's now on the wrong side, but the ball is there for Keelan Blade. Carty, oh, that's beautifully done by Jack Carty. Great tackle, as it had to be, from Conway on Matt Healy. Real game now. Keelan Blade gets the pass away. Carty looked like he must be through. 2 Munster players come through. They're off their feet though. Penalty straight in front. Oh, Carty looked as though he might have been through, and that's a yellow card against Chris Klutze. They were right up against it then, Munster, and Busby's decision is to send Klutze to the bin. It's his 5th yellow card in Munster colours.
This is absolute beautiful play from Connacht. Like, how late did he make that decision? But he saw Matt Healy coming, flying in from his left wing, and the interplay, just not happy to go to deck and clear out and create a ruck. The offloading was absolutely superb. Would have been the try of the season, only it was prevented from illegally, and then the yellow card came out. But beautiful offloads, beautiful lines. It started from... At what stage did Carty know that Matt Healy was coming in there?
Yeah.
Good 10, yeah. Hard.
And it's that interplay, isn't it, between Keelan Blade and Jack Carty. So often when Connacht are very much at full throttle, it's those two dictating and working in unison.
Big call, penalty, and Connacht have elected for a scrum.
Okay, new players, lads, same balance. Okay, just wait for the calls. Wait for the calls, feet underneath,
7 point game, man advantage, of course. As I said, yellow card number 5 in his Munster career for Chris Klutze on his 50th appearance.
Slow calls, balance.
He is number 1 in the competition on turnovers, isn't he?
13 before tonight, but this is prime position. 20 minutes to go, a little less than that. Game is really in the balance.
Stay with our green. Fells, we need more space there. Okay, we're pre-engaged. Okay, yeah. Okay, take more space if you need there, green, yeah. Okay, hookers both in early.
Go, Scans, let's go, John. Let's go, Forrest. Let's go, lads. Come on, boys.
Don't lean.
James Cronin still there, by the way. That substitution with Jeremy Loughlin didn't happen, so it's Cronin alongside Kevin O'Byrne and John Ryan now in that Munster front row.
Let's go, great. Form up. Okay, guys, to be fair, we're head to head this side, yeah? Just find your slots. Yeah, no, I'm staying this side. It's fine. Okay, got the mark, let's go.
So Connacht have split their attacking backs. They've two down the blind side. They've really manipulated the space really well when they've had a flow of ball, haven't they?
Crouch!
So you can see again what Munster are doing. They're having a guy in the neutral place.
Set!
It's a big moment for Craig Casey, how he defends that blind side.
Okay, use it, Green!
Away they come now with Boyle. Going straight into Coombs. Quick ball required. Butler over Keelan Blade now. Here they come with Jack Ainger.
Hold here, hold, push.
Blade, lots of options here. Conor Oliver is one of them. Thought about trying the offload from the deck to Tom Daly. Daly still poised. Wooten still there. Boyle through the middle. And Paul Boyle gets the try for Connacht, and they hit back. Brilliant from the Connacht number 8. Now, and this game just gets better and better.
I thought the Connacht opening side, Conor Oliver, was in all sorts of trouble because he'd one man outside him and he had a flood of red jerseys around. But the hunting, the work rate of the Connacht players has just been phenomenal, and a great reward for hard work and endeavour, isn't it? Because Oliver was in terrible trouble there. And look at the number of green jerseys that came to his aid. Superb play, and a huge hole opens up.
Yes.
Like it's hard to criticise the World Cup winner there because he was doing hard work. It's his fringe defenders that needed to fold in today.
Yeah. The space just opened up in front of Paul Boyle, and didn't he take his opportunity?
Thanks, Jack. I'll give you time to reset.
We're just going to review something. Jack Carty just topples the ball off the kicking tee. Now, did this go forward somewhere? Is there a potential knock on? Well, there's
all
the
good,
little...
Chris. Play. All
Sorry,
good.
Jack, we're all good, yeah.
That's
Okay,
the juggle on the floor, but the try will stand. Try's good.
Thanks, Jack. Thank you.
2 out of 2 so far for Jack Carty. Ben Healy left a few on the posts, and this, well, it looks straightforward, is not academic against the swirling breeze coming from his left-hand side and into his face for Jack Carty. Yeah, he struck it beautifully. Absolutely no issue whatsoever with the conversion for Jack Carty. Paul Boyle's try becomes a 7-pointer, and it is 17 points apiece. This one has the feel of a game that's going to go right down to the wire.
Okay, there, come on, guys.
Still 5 minutes and a little bit more than that on the sin binning for Chris Klutze. Another of the dependables in the Connacht squad, Paul Boyle. He usually plays the full 80 minutes. This is 11th start of the campaign, and he's played the full 80 in the previous 10. Yeah, he's having a good game, isn't he, up from full-back. He's been one of the standout players in red for Munster. Klein took it into contact there for Casey again. Coombs. No cheap penalties as Connacht threatened to stray offside there. Casey almost enticing them to do so. Red penalties, Andy Friend calls them. He'll have no nails left, sat at home nursing his knee injury. 2 tries apiece, 17 points apiece, 1 yellow card apiece. Munster chasing a spot in the final. Connacht looking to keep the conference and their final ambitions, albeit hanging on by a thread. Keep them alive for another week at least. Kevin O'Byrne. Cronin. He's had a good game too, hasn't he?
7, no, it's a rock.
Can they find a way through? Not yet anyway. Casey now. Dale Ende takes the ball to the line. Gavin
Triple
Thornbury
T.
in again, yeah.
That's fine.
Bundy a key.
Ah, no, what are you doing?
You're legally through, but you can't play it in the ruck. The ball's still in the ruck. You can't pick the ball up, it's still a ruck. Yeah.
Oh, that's a very silly error.
You can't pick the ball up. Okay.
What he could do is if he went forward, the next guy in, he
Ruck
can
is
create a
forward,
new ruck for himself
and
in a
ruck.
sense, but he can't pick that ball up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Or you can't kick backwards.
He just misinterprets what the referee was saying to him in some respects. He said, you're okay, but you can't do that.
Craig, if I think he's playing you, I'll give it. I just didn't think he pulled you in, and he is allowed to come through the middle. Yeah, I didn't think he pulled you.
Could be very costly. Kicked a beautiful conversion in Cardiff last week, didn't he, against the Blues, and no problems with his first one, and this one, by his standards, relatively routine.
Now, if there's a lesson to learn here, Connor, it's one, avoid throwing the line-out ball to Thornbury if you're a Munster hooker, and the second lesson is if you're kicking the ball out from your own line or your own half, to avoid kicking to the Munster fullback, Mike Haley, because he's been a huge difference in the yards he's putting back in those kick-outs, those exit kicks from Connacht. He's putting massive inroads back into them.
2, 8 and 9.
So Connacht have to find grass and not let him field the ball.
Yeah, okay, time's up.
Great shift from Keelan Blake, but what a player to bring into a game like this at this stage of the game. 69th minute rather, 20 points to 17. Kieran Marmion coming into the fray. Shane Delahunt in also.
Hold in front, Red, hold.
Paul Boyle also off.
He's always stepping, Player slip before contact.
Porch lost his footing more than anything else, really. Oh, space potentially now on the outside for Woodson, up against Healy. Was he checked? Marmion on the chase through. Conway back there to clean up.
20.
I don't think he's the case. I don't think he's the case.
Yeah. Nothing clear,
No,
guys. Nothing clear.
no, he just held his ground. But that's brilliant.
Keep him behind, please.
That's absolutely brilliant.
Behind, yeah.
Showing Shane Daly a clean pair of heels, and
like he's not the only one who's shown his 15 clean breaks coming into this game. He's #1 in meters gained. Like, he's on fire, isn't he?
he's over the 600-metre mark now. Confirmation of that switch. Owen Masterson, by the way, into the Connacht back row. Butler now, the Connacht captain. Marmion gets it away to Jack Ainger.
Oh, that's a great bit of play. That's a great bit of play from Loughlin. Super technique over the ball.
Good play, some props. First man over the ball.
Like it's Delahunt, doesn't it?
Clear. Play some prop
Oh,
over the ball.
and you see him coming in. That's superb. Great technique.
Yes, great turnover by Lockman. Another player who's had his injury problems over the last year or so. Actually played in the Leinster Schools Cup final on the same team as Joey Carberry. And Conor Oliver.
Yeah, you're fine now. Fine now.
A matter of seconds remaining on the Chris
good.
Klutza yellow card, by the way. Munster very shortly back to the full complement. Ultan Dillon wins it again. What a performance it's been from this Connacht line-out.
Is that 7?
Yep. It's exceptional. Daly. Marmion, Dillon now again. Carty had to improvise a little bit. Bundy a key. Thought about the offload. Flirted with the idea of getting the offload away to Masterson. Held it in instead. 72nd minute. That's a little bit risky from Oliver. Oh, risk and reward stuff from Connacht, and Daly decides just to fire it downfield, but he's given it to that man Mike Haley.
Come on, Ray, come on.
Haley off and chase. Great take from Jack Carty.
There's certainly a sense of calm when Jack Carty is in and around the ball, isn't there?
Yeah.
Clear release and off feet. Clear
That's
release and
against
off
Gavin Coombs.
Like 8 minutes to go. Like, it's been an absolute cracking match.
feet. Stay up. Ear red.
And will it end with Munster going through to the final? Ulster Leinster, remember, tomorrow night. A win would see Leinster through to the final, and should they make it, all the more onus on Munster to get through at this time of asking, to give themselves that little bit of wriggle room over the next 2 weeks to plan for yet another Leinster-Munster battle, this time in a final. It's been semi-finals each of the last 3 seasons.
6 fat. 6 sub.
Chris Klutze, with the red scrum cap, is
Red on
back
the
with
line,
us.
there, Bracey,
15
yeah.
aside for the last
Red, you're on
8
the line.
minutes. Game you don't
Have a
want
good
to
one,
end.
there, lads. Fill in this otherwise, lads. So you just step up the ring.
A change coming in the
Just step up
Munster
the
back
ring,
row.
yeah.
Jack O'Donoghue going off. Jack O'Sullivan coming in. O'Sullivan, who played number 8 last week. Tied it up nicely by Kevin O'Byrne after a frantic exchange. Thumped downfield. Just a little bit too much on it. Just a little bit too much on it. All the way back we go.
And Jack Carty took quite a knock there, didn't he? He's kind of easing himself back in. But if you keep an eye on Jack Carty here, the throw was fine. But this subsequent contact here, a right hand, I think, from Klute, was it?
You got the mark, Bracey, yeah.
Just in an awkward clash. But Carty's
right,
taken a
lads,
bit of
scrum.
time to dust
Went
himself
there.
down.
Just here.
You know, 1 or 2 appeals from the Connacht players that perhaps that should be looked at.
Bracey, come. Joyce's checked. Stand there.
As you say, awkward, using your diplomacy from Chris Klute, who's only been back on the pitch a matter of seconds, as we know.
I won't do, yeah. Guy's not head to head this side, yeah.
They've had some really difficult games at this ground down the years and conceded a hefty load of points on regular occasions. Different story tonight, and you could tell that appetite right from the first whistle.
Bind! Sit! Okay, stay square. Keep your bind up, bind up. 3, stay square, tight head. Stay there. Good. Use the cream.
Now, Marmion. Joey Carberry on the cover, Wootson off in chase. Now it's a penalty for the arm around the neck area of Joey Carberry, albeit he's very low. Acknowledged.
I understand how it's still high. It's over the shoulder. It's here, yeah. I do get your point, but it is over the shoulder, Jack. Yeah, I get you. I get you, Sam.
It's such a pity, isn't it? Because Carberry was in the worst possible place, the bottom left-hand corner, with numbers coming in. All you do is be a little bit patient.
Set space, green.
Well,
Green.
not out of their own 22 just
Off
yet,
the
but
AR.
it is Kevin O'Byrne's
Stop.
ball.
There's the AR. Step off, green. Red, come up. Don't worry, he's seeing you.
Can they read the call again here? And they're forcing Munster to think on their feet and adapt. Went short to Billy Holland.
The ball's available.
Delan's done well to
Just about crossed the 5-metre line, I'd say.
get himself out of there, yeah.
Okay, release,
He's
green.
pretty tight.
Stay on 6.
76th
Use red.
minute.
4, stay on. No, no.
Casey, better distance on that from a very tight angle. He's done well there, the Munster scrum half.
9. If you dummy again, I'll free kick you. Okay.
Feels like a game that deserves
Okay,
a
hands off.
big finale,
Injured
however
player.
it comes. That's the as it stands table. Munster on their
It's a
way
point
to
that
the
you
final.
take
The
that
first
down,
final
free
since
kick you. Is that okay?
2017.
Yeah, if we think he's offside, we'll give it. Yeah. For me, it's okay.
And they've been so good in this competition all season, so consistent. Just those couple of blemishes. The game up in Belfast against Ulster and Leinster.
Okay, it's up, is he? Okay. Time's on. Okay, great.
Shane Delahunt patiently waiting.
Yes, time's up.
Now they mix it up again. They go to Butler this time. Delahunt has it.
Okay. No,
Getting into that now or never time for Connacht.
Don't chase 20 here. That's down by Green. It's down by Green.
Can they pull this game out of the fire like they did last week against Benetton? But this would mean so much more.
Okay, leave it now, 23.
Buckley. Oh, it's good tackle. Combination of Ainger and here come Connacht now. Woodson itching to find any kind of a space. Dialande in with the tackle. Quicker ball, flat to the line. Great take. Delahunt again. He's such a useful ball carrier in those kind of situations. Delan now. Tackled by Jack O'Sullivan. Penalty coming, and it's coming the way of Munster.
It's a clamp steal.
Clock against Connacht. Field position will be against them as well. And Chris Clute, a little bit of redemption for him, the number 7. Let's see what Joey Carberry rather can eke out of this penalty won by that Clute intervention at the breakdown. Yeah, that's pretty good. There's the tackle, and there's the vice-like grip, the clamp on Owen Masterson by Clute.
6. Nothing in the air here, Green. Nothing in the air, yeah.
Line out pending, and the line out's been a difficult area for Munster all evening. Liam, let's get your Guinness player of the match.
Well, it was a fantastic game with genuine competition all across the park. At fullback, Mike Haley for Munster was superb, but the Connacht line-out kept him in the game throughout. For Gavin Thornbury in the number 5 jersey for Connacht was my Guinness player of the match tonight. Superb performance for the whole Connacht line-out with him at the heart of it.
One stop!
And there he is, putting his shoulder to the wheel.
Same ball.
But it's Munster making progress. How many times have we seen the Munster maul, even though Connacht at times have defended it admirably, do this kind of damage and just be enough to get Munster over the line? They're playing with the advantage. Farrell has done well to attack the gain line and get some purchase. Casey now, tackled by Daly. Will Munster finish with a flourish in the third try, just to rubber stamp their place in the grand final?
Hey guys, that's a mess. 13 offside or 7 over
No advantage coming. Couple of penalties in there. Tom Daly was offside. Conor Oliver, I think, as well.
Captain? Who's captain? Oh, sorry, guy. Okay, 13's offside here. Or you can have 7 in the side on the 5.
Well, penalty only takes it to 6 and would maybe afford the possibility of one further opportunity for Connacht. In a game like this, you take nothing for granted.
Just here, Brissy, yeah. 7, change of bind. Just here. Okay, let's go, please, right? Let's go.
And you feel it's going to be another evening of bitter disappointment for Connacht.
On the line.
Started so well with that Matt Healy try, led 10-7 at half time. 10 apiece, Bundy a key in the bin, and then that Mike Healy try, the moment of brilliance from the fullback.
More. Okay, that's over. 16 don't change.
Paul Boyle hit back, but now Munster controlling the final few minutes. It's that man, Kevin O'Byrne. He's been in great form. There's a penalty coming. Connacht felt they had hands on it breakdown time. They might turn it over, but there was an offside. And on a weekend when we may well learn the identity of the two teams through to the final, we are certain now to see Munster go through to the Pro 14 final on March the 27th. They have seen this out against a gallant Connacht side that asked every single question of them, but Munster have got the job done by a narrow margin of 3 points. Pulsating game, wonderful inter-pro action, full of fascinating subplots and key battles and some lovely well-taken tries, and Absolutely nothing left behind in terms of effort and endeavour. But it is Munster who secure top spot in the conference, and with that they cannot be caught, and they are through to the final. The final score this evening at Thomond Park in Limerick: Munster 20, Connacht 17. Well, it's another one of those nights, isn't it, for Connacht? Their record here at Thomond Park continues. It's a miserable one. Just that solitary win back in November of 2015, the Bundy Aki try, but they got closer than they have done for many a long night this evening, and they will feel they had the game there, but Munster get the job done in the end, and they go through to the final. And certainly you cannot question, over the course of the entire season they deserve to be in a final, and they've got a really, really good opportunity now on a one-off game to try and get some silverware for the first time in 10 years. But goodness me, Liam, what a game and what a battle Munster were in tonight.
Oh, I loved every minute of it, and it's absolutely freezing up here, but it was a great, great game. And it was the truest performance in the sense that both sides were able to compete for the ball. Connacht did a huge amount of damage to the Munster line-out. The scrum was very, very strong on both sides, and there was a lot of real star performers. Like, again, I mentioned Mike Haley at full-back, did really, really well. Jack Carty at 10 was very comfortable in his brief, wasn't he? But there was an awful, while you were doing your summary there, Bundy Aki was up beside Chris Busby, and they were in a big kind of conflagration around that whole decision of Bundy Aki is insisting that maybe it was a penalty, but certainly not a yellow card. That's the kind of the body language from them both. There was big moments, wasn't there? But it was a great, great game, really enjoyable. And a great preparation for Munster as they go forward towards the opportunity for silverware. It's a real test for them, and they came through it.
And it gives them the opportunity, as I said, to rest players, give players game time. Home to the Scarlets and then home to Benetton. Connacht home to Edinburgh and away to the Scarlets, but their race is run. European qualification secured as of last week in that game against Benetton. There's your Guinness player of the match, Gavin Thornby. We'll hope to hear from him very shortly indeed. A bitter pill to swallow for him and Ultan Dillon and so many of them that toiled really well in there for Connacht this evening. Dillon superb again. Dave Heffernan's line-out darts on point all evening.
I know, like the likes of Dillon, he's extremely athletic and he gets the plaudits, but the lifters, on occasion Buckley was lifting him just by himself and he's still getting a huge amount of height then. But the fact that Connacht got two players up into the air, it made life very difficult for the Munster hooker because there's an awful lot of traffic between him and his target, and it was a superb management of the line-out defence from Connacht.
Yes, but Munster have the reserves. They had the bench, didn't they, as well? And great to see Joey Carberry back. Unless we forget, no Keith Earls, no Conor Murray, no CJ Stander, no Peter O'Mahony, Tyg Byrne. They were missing quite a few. Dave Kilcoyne rather as well.
There was a contrast in play though. Like, Connacht were much more comfortable at finding space and getting ball into space, and that initial try they scored was an example of such.
Yes, it certainly was. But I think we're ready to hear from our Guinness player of the match, who is Gavin Thornby, and standing by to give him his accolade is Jared Butler, and after that they'll speak to Shane Dawson.
Gavin, congratulations, you are tonight's Guinness player of the match, and we've your captain Jared Butler here to present you with your medal. Gavin, an absolutely draining 80 minutes of rugby. Just how tough was it out there?
Yeah, no, it was very tough. Obviously, pretty good with it. Coming down here, it's going to be a very tough night. They're going to have to play for the 80 minutes, and they've grinded out results all year, and in fairness, they did it again today.
Do you think that experience of grinding out the results really stood to them in the end? Just that composure as well?
Yeah, I think so. Like, you have to play for 80 minutes down here, and I just don't think we did that. And then in the end, I think the discipline killed us. But look, massive effort from the lads. We came down here with a plan. I think we stuck to it pretty well. And it was a massive effort. Just the last few minutes kind of killed us.
Is it a frustration that perhaps you could have given it a bit more?
No, I think the effort was 100% there. A couple of decisions probably didn't go away, but look, in terms of effort, the boys did everything.
Massive wingspan on you, especially in the first half. Just so many charge downs, so many block downs as well. Was that a part of the game plan to try and get at Craig Casey, get at Ben Healy and get in their faces?
Not really. I think we were trying to put pressure on them, and that's kind of where it starts from their kicking game. Obviously they kick extremely well, so you can put pressure on their kickers. It goes a way to put pressure on them. So, but look, at the end of the day, I'm told so I can go after them. But no, in fairness, they deserve the result tonight and they did very well to win it.
And in terms of the line-out as well, often 2 pods, even defensively, just challenging, 2 lifters on you as well, and Ulton. Was that something you wanted to really try and emphasise today and challenge on that front?
I think we always try to do it. We always have a bit of pride in our line D, and some nights it comes off, and tonight was one of those nights.
Gavin, commiserations on the result. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, mate.